Okay, let's jump right into a really interesting deep dive today. We're unpacking this online entity. It's called the Big Island Reporter.
Yeah, and we've got a fascinating, kind of unusual stack of sources for this one.
We really do. Everything from, standard website descriptions, a site guide, but then there's this pretty wild YouTube transcript.
Right, and even a link to a major tech podcast network. It's quite the collection.
So our mission here is basically to make sense of this thing for you. What is it actually trying to be? What kind of stuff is on there?
Exactly. And what are some of the surprising, maybe unexpected connections you find when you look across all these different pieces? Think of it as your shortcut to understanding something pretty unique.
Unique feels like the right word. Eclectic, too, maybe? The sources themselves almost tell a story, don't they?
Oh, so.
Well, you've got this description of a, straightforward news portal
Uh-huh.
right next to this YouTube transcript that's got spoken word, music, these, really out there concepts.
Mhm.
It's quite the mix. So where should we start?
Let's start with the basics. How does the Big Island Reporter describe itself, at its core, according to the sources?
Well, it's pretty bold about it. The phrase that keeps popping up is Hawaii's best news web portal.
Okay, so setting the bar high, and what's its stated purpose? Like the mission.
The sources say it was founded to root out the truth, aggregating news across the spectrum.
Right, and they define that spectrum in a kind of interesting way.
They do. Left, right, center, and then up and down, which honestly isn't your typical political axis.
No, up and down definitely makes you wonder. So what kind of content does it say it offers?
Broadly, it's described as eclectic news, podcasts, and videos. Simple enough on the surface.
And there's a person behind it.
Yes, the sources clearly name Mark Wood as the owner and publisher, based in Kailua Kona, Hawaii.
Ah, so a specific location.
Yep, and they provide contact info too, email, phone numbers. Seems quite transparent on that front.
Okay, so you have a named person in Hawaii aiming to be this comprehensive news source, covering a really wide, maybe unconventional spectrum. That gives us a starting point.
And speaking of Hawaii, that connection is, wow, it's incredibly strong throughout the sources. It feels like showcasing the islands is almost as important as reporting about them.
It really does feel that way. The sources just gush about the visuals, descriptions of these stunning landscape photos.
Yeah, marine life, volcanoes, those amazing sunsets.
Beaches, coastlines, waterfalls, rainforests. It's like they want to pull you right into the physical beauty of Hawaii.
But it's not just the scenery, is it? They seem to go deep on the culture, too.
Absolutely. They mentioned hula, traditional music, cultural festivals, even the food described as this fusion, right? Polynesian, Asian, Western influences.
And local artisans, too.
Yeah, things like lei making, wood carving,
Yeah.
historical landmarks. And there's mention of giving insights into the lives, traditions, and, importantly, the struggles of indigenous people.
And it feels practical, too, for someone actually interested in, visiting or living there.
Definitely. Highlighting local businesses, real estate listings.
Where?
You see specific names like Dixon 76 in Kona, or this realtor Lance Owens.
Right. Makes it feel very grounded in the local community.
Yeah, and they even specifically mention the aloha spirit as something they want to embody and share. So it's this really deep dive into local life, culture, business on the Big Island, primarily.
Although the sources do mention they plan to expand coverage, right, to other islands eventually.
They do, yeah. So the vision seems broader than just the Big Island in the long run.
Okay, now, here's where it gets maybe a bit less expected. Given that strong local Hawaii focus.
You mean the technology aspect?
Exactly. AI and tech are just everywhere in these sources. It's
Right.
almost jarring how prominent it is.
It really stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like a completely parallel pillar to the Hawaii content.
So what specific AI stuff pops up?
Well, there's mention of AI-generated images and news feeds on like all sorts of topics, and they really push interactive AI chat features. You see labels like try our AI prompt here, try our other AI chat here, and even a specific Big Island Reporter AI assistant powered by Icado.
So it's not just talking about AI, it's actually building AI tools into the site for people to use.
Precisely, and they feature something called Any Model. They position it as being early in the future of AI.
Any model. What's that?
The source explains it as a way to access multiple different AI models, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, all through one subscription.
Huh. That's interesting, like an aggregator for AI models themselves.
Yeah, kind of suggesting that the future isn't just picking one AI, but having access to many.
Makes sense. And what about AI for the news side?
Right, they mentioned a tool called NewsCord. It's pitched as an AI tool for getting the full story by pulling from multiple sources.
And what kind of stories does News Corp cover?
The examples given are pretty heavy, actually. The war on Gaza, USA crime trends, the Ukraine war, discussions about Trump-Putin peace talks, a gender-affirming care bill, even a de facto Muslim travel ban. So really diving into major global and domestic issues.
That definitely covers a lot of ground, but I think I saw a warning attached to that.
Yes, and that's important. The source includes a caution, basically saying, look, AI can make mistakes, so you should always check the original sources.
That's crucial. Good that they include it.
Yeah, it shows they're aware of the limitations, even while they're clearly enthusiastic about the tech.
And the tech focus goes beyond just those tools, right?
It does. The sources point to a Flipboard section they maintain, focused on technology. It lists things like programming languages, AI, deep learning, NLP, standard computer science topics.
Okay.
And this deep interest in tech is kind of underlined by the link they provide to the A16Z podcast network.
Oh, Andreessen Horowitz, the big VC firm.
Exactly. They're huge in tech and venture capital. And the sources highlight specific A16Z episode titles about AI, tech, Web3, things like evolving embodied intelligence with Fei Lai and the quest for AGI.
So you've got this intense focus on Hawaii, the culture, the lifestyle, the visuals, sitting right alongside this deep dive into advanced AI tools and the absolute cutting edge of technology discussions. It's an unusual pairing.
It really is. And believe it or not, the sources take us even further into the unexpected. This is where that YouTube transcript really starts to stand out.
Okay, I'm braced. What else is in there?
Well, beyond the news and the tech, you get these really eclectic, almost visionary elements.
Like that United States of Africa thing, that definitely jumped out at me from the transcript.
Right. It's presented as this really specific, incredibly ambitious vision.
How specific.
The source describes it becoming a single entity by Christmas Day 2026, stretching, get this, from Ohio to Cape Town.
Ohio to Cape Town. That's geographically ambitious, to say the least.
You could say that. And it's envisioned with this electric, solar-powered trans-highway connecting it all, designed for transferring energy globally.
And the claims about it in the transcript are pretty grand, aren't they? Like ending starvation and wars.
Yeah, exactly. And it's called the world's first Queen Super, whatever that means.
Huh.
Plus, the source attributes the whole vision to messages developed by secret society. So that adds yet another layer of mystery.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely a sharp turn from, Kona real estate listings.
Absolutely, worlds away. And then you get other things, like details about a musical alliance
Oh, yeah.
between a Hawaii recording artist named Blue Turban Stone and something called Busui Guitar.
The 21st century guitar line, wasn't it?
That's the one. Described as this double-sided guitar invented by a Dr. Isola, apparently registered in Georgia.
So, a local Hawaiian musician linked to this unique, innovative instrument developed somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. It's another one of those threads that just weaves together seemingly unrelated concepts. It's kind of fascinating.
And there's other stuff scattered around, too.
Yeah, just odds and ends mentioned in the sources. References to Pluto TV, the Megatrax production music library, which they recommend for producers. There's also an emphasis on airsoft and self-defense content.
Right. And that cool stuff section.
Yeah. Covering everything from life hacks and concept cars to scientific breakthroughs. It's just a lot of different things packed in.
And what about those more abstract bits in the YouTube transcript, the lyrical sounding fragments?
Oh, yeah, you can't ignore those. They add this whole other texture. Lines like, Monday world is for the losers, or answer's not in me, it's deep within yourself.
Kind of philosophical almost.
Yeah, or misery of being free to be a toy of the powers that be. And that recurring phrase, just heat, heat, heat. It's very atmospheric, maybe.
It definitely gives the whole platform this unique personality, I guess. It shifts so quickly. You go from very concrete local stuff to these huge global or futuristic visions, then deep tech dives, and then these, cryptic artistic snippets.
It certainly creates a dynamic and maybe unpredictable kind of online space.
So, okay, shifting gears a bit, how does a place with such a diverse, sometimes really unusual mix of content actually, keep the lights on? What do the sources say about its business model?
The main thing highlighted is advertising. They talk about it being cost-effective, offering these year-long ad pages.
Right. And they have a specific tactic for making sure those ads get seen, don't they?
They do. They explicitly market the fact that they bypass ad blockers
How?
by using a Google Docs presentation format for the ads. The source says this is a deliberate strategy, basically ensuring the message gets through when, typical online ads might just be blocked.
That's actually pretty clever considering how prevalent ad blockers are. Do the sources mention specific prices?
Yeah, they give examples, like old rates were maybe $250 for a year with a second year free. Current rates mentioned are $500 per year, still with a year free.
Okay.
There's even a note about a cash discount if you use PayPal. And for realtors, they have specific tiers for adding listings to this features cube thing, like $500 or $1,000 a year, depending on the level.
So they seem pretty open about the advertising structure and their unique delivery method.
Seems so. And beyond just ads, they also mention features to try and build community. Things like interactive forums, letting readers contribute, polls, surveys, ways to get people involved.
And presumably they're on social media too.
Yep, Facebook and Twitter are mentioned as places to follow them. And tying back to earlier, the sources mention again those future plans for expansion, enhancing the site, covering other islands.
Okay, so let's try and wrap our heads around this whole picture. You've got this platform deeply rooted in showing off Hawaii, the beauty, the local life. Then you have this massive emphasis on cutting-edge AI and tech, including actual tools people can use.
Right.
Plus these huge abstract future visions, unique artistic projects, this distinct ad model. What's the main takeaway when you put all that together? What does this synthesis really tell us?
Well, I think the main insight looking across these sources is that the Big Island Reporter isn't easily pigeonholed. It's not just a local Hawaii news site. It's not just a tech hub. It's not just a place for, visionary rambling.
It's all of them.
It seems to be actively aggregating across these incredibly different areas. It's like it operates on the idea that all these things, local happenings, global tech shifts, philosophical musings, even really out there future concepts are all part of the same big information landscape it wants to map out.
That's a good way to put it. It's almost like a microcosm of the messy, diverse internet itself, where local forums bump up against quantum physics discussions and poetry slams.
Exactly. It presents itself as this platform trying to serve a whole bunch of different purposes and interests all at once. Maybe reflecting how multifaceted our own interests are becoming online. It's a news source, a local guide, a tech showcase, and maybe a launch pad for bigger, stranger ideas all rolled into one.
This deep dive definitely gives you a clearer sense of just how unique the Big Island Reporter is. Pulling all these threads together like this, it certainly saves you the trouble of piecing it together yourself from the website, the guide, that YouTube video.
For sure. You see that anchor in the real, tangible world of Hawaii, but then this incredible reach towards the global, the futuristic, the super technological. It's quite a blend.
It really makes you stop and think about what an online platform can even be.
And maybe that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. When you have an online space like this that so deliberately mixes a strong local identity, really rooted in a specific place like Hawaii, with these massive global trends, advanced tech, and even these abstract future visions.
Yeah.
How does that start to change our idea of community, or even what counts as news or information in this digital age?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be informed when the information spectrum includes not just left and right, but also up and down?
Definitely a lot to think about there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.